Greetings and welcome to Yarnspirations. Let's get started on another fabulous pattern from Red Heart. I'm Mary Beth Temple from Hooked for Life, and in this video we're going to take a closer look at the In a Pinch knit pillow. So just click on the link below to download the free pattern and find out about the materials. And while you're down there, please subscribe to the channel for fresh content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. Now, this is a really fun way to knit. You're knitting the pillow from side to side, and while most of the rounds are just alternating knits and purls, on some of the rounds we're going to learn how to do this wrap stitch. The wrap stitch brings the two knit stitch columns together and creates a diamond pattern that travels all across the pillow. So let's get into the fun stuff. I've done one full repeat of the stitch pattern. Oftentimes in these videos I start from the very beginning, but this is definitely one of those stitch patterns that makes perfect sense once you see it up close, but sometimes is a little hard to intuit just from the pattern. Although we do also have the chart for you on the second page, so you can take a look at that too if you're a person that prefers a chart to the text. But I will say, as somebody who is an experienced knitter, and most of you guys will be because this is marked intermediate, when you look at this first and then you compare it to the photo, you think, well, that doesn't look right, until you realize that you're knitting this way. This is the short or side edge of the pillow, and you're knitting in that direction, and then of course it looks exactly like the photo, and it makes perfect sense. So I have done the first repeat, which is rounds 1 through 14, and then I have, basically we're back on the fourth round. The wrap stitch is the only thing in this that you may not be familiar with. Of course, make sure to mark the beginning of the round because it will drive you crazy if you don't. But let's take a look at this wrap stitch. So I'm on the fourth round, and it's knit 2, purl 3, knit 2, and then it says wrap stitches. So to wrap the stitches, I'm going to bring the yarn forward between the needles, not over the needles. We're not making a yarn over. Then I'm going to slip these 7 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over to the left-hand needle, vice versa if you're left-handed, of course. Make sure you're not twisting the stitches when you pass them, because we're going to pass them back several times. Now I'm going to bring that yarn across the front of the work, around those stitches, and back towards where it started. Now let's talk, it does say to pinch the stitches together. You do not want to go insane. You don't want to make them so tight that you can't get your needle in there, because it will really pull the width of the fabric in, but you do want it to snug up. So what I try and do is pull them until they're all right next to each other, but again, not that they're screaming for lack of air. And you can finesse this as you go. So then I'm putting these same 7 back on the right hand needle. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once again, being careful not to twist. So I've tugged that so they're all next to each other. Now I'm going to bring it to the front again. And I'm going to keep doing that action until 3 wraps have been completed. Whoops. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, I'm tugging that to make sure it stays with a little bit of tension. So there's my second wrap. I'm going to put these back on the right hand needle. Bring that yarn forward. You can see it holds a little tighter as you go. It's that first one that wants to be loose. Back on the left hand needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can see why it's super important not to twist, because if you twist and you keep going back and forth, you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So here's my third wrap coming across the front, back between those two needles. Put these 7 stitches back on the right hand needle where they started. Bring that yarn forward. A little tangled here. There we go. And then move on with my stitching. It's purl 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's the end of the repeat. So you have a wrapped stitch and these purl 3 hanging out. So then you're going to keep repeating from that, repeating from that asterisk. Knit 2, 1, 2, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, 1, 2, wrap stitch, bring the yarn forward, move 7 stitches to the left hand needle, and wrap. Bring that yarn that's forward around the 7 stitches, head it back towards where it started, give them a little tug so they're set up nice and next to each other, but not so tight that they're choking. Move the needles back to the right hand. Yarn forward again, back to the left hand needle. Little tug between those needles, back to the right hand needle. Yarn forward, back to the left hand needle. Little tug, make sure everybody's laying nice. Yarn to the back. Yarn forward. There's my 3 wraps. Purl 3. Moving forward through the pattern. Again, I was on the 4th round. 5th through the 10th rounds are knit 2, purl 3. For the 11th round, you're going to knit 2, then purl 3, knit 2, purl 3, knit 2, and then wrap the stitches. So you can see in the work that I've done. So this is the 4th round, which we've just repeated, and you can see where those wraps are. For the 11th round, they're offset, and that's how we get the diamond pattern. So it's the same premise by which you're going to work 7 stitches and wrap them and then have a purl 3 in between. The only thing I need to point out about that 11th round is when you get to the end, when you get to this final wrap, you're wrapping the last 5 stitches of the round and the first 2 stitches. So you need to leave your stitch marker there. The beginning of the round doesn't move. It seems in your brain like it might, but it doesn't. So when you're wrapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, which you can see I did on this round right here, leave that stitch marker where it belongs. Then when you get to the 12th round, it tells you you've already knit the first 2 stitches of the round. The 12th round picks up here, but the beginning of the round doesn't move. You finish the 12th round and then you repeat 11 through 14, and then it says repeat rounds 1 through 14 for the pattern. I had already done 1 through 3 when we picked up the video. So that's all there is to this. I know it's marked intermediate, but the only thing that's even the least little bit tricky is that wrap stitch. And now you know how to do it. So thank you so much for joining us here for the In a Pinch Knit Pillow. I'm Mary Beth Temple for Hooked for Life. Please subscribe to the channel for fresh content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff, and we look forward to seeing you again here real soon. Bye-bye.